I absolutely support, and I believe they're elected to advocate on the best behalf of the organization and department that they have oversight of, and that's the school department. We just have a fundamental disagreement on how that budget is formed. But I would absolutely put the administration of the town manager's office and what we've done since 2020 with the schools in providing year-over-year increases, because this is one town, one budget. We do not have, unlike the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, a separate school committee and school board tax that bills for schools tax, and then you have the municipal tax. We have one town, one budget, and the town council is charged with being able to take a budget and approve it. I work very closely with all the departments, including the schools, to come up with a number. There's back and forth at times. Sometimes there's, not 100% agreement, but they have an opportunity in front of town council to make their case, and the town council has 3 votes that they can take on any budget. They can say yes, they can say no, or they can reduce. So that is, where the real debate lies is in the town council. And I don't recall, I know that they came into their budget hearing that was very delayed because of scheduling conflicts with the superintendent. But any, assertions that it was, they want more, and I think we've all recognized that they are getting more than they have in the previous year. They're making a particular argument about Chapter 70 that I don't see it in the same light that they do, right? And we can talk about Chapter 70 and how it's applied.
Which, for people who don't, I know how it works.
Right.
You and the town, I think, approved the budget on June 9th per the charter.
That's correct.
You don't know what the Chapter 70 number is, so you present and the town council approves a budget based on what you think that money is.
Right.
And what North Attleboro does. If it's more than that, correct me if I'm wrong, you supplement some of the other departments that didn't get the type of police and fire, for example, a 1.5% increase, schools got 4.5%. Well,
that's correct.
If the money is higher, should schools get 6.5% while the police and fire say 1.5%? Your answer is no.
My answer is no, but my answer is when it's time to create a budget, every department comes in and advocates for the budget they want or need, right? And they make their case for it. The schools come in just like every other department, advocate for what they need. I think this is just the schools and the school committee continue to advocate for their need. But I will tell you, the town is fully vested in supporting the schools, and we've given them every opportunity and every funding that we're able to give them in this year, and so much so that other departments were a lot lower this year, right, than compared to the schools this year.
We've talked about per pupil spending, and you brought up the fact that there are certain communities that students don't speak English and so on. Well, you're going to spend more money in those. But I was thinking back to the days before Proposition 2.5, and North Attleboro was very proud of the fact we have the lowest tax rate around, while other cities and towns in this area were probably increasing taxes by so much to fund the schools. Well, that just gets worse over time.
Look, I think there was an issue, and because I was not in a position to impact the overall outcome of how Proposition 2.5 was managed prior to my arrival. I do believe what you say is accurate, that the town would frequently boast that it has the lowest tax rate. And it's something that we still say today on a good thing. But what that did was it created a shortfall because we weren't allowed to compound those increases year over year for a number of years. Go back to when the mall was originally built. And if you look at that as a time period back in the 80s and you say, all right, from that point going forward, we lost out on the income because we were relying on the mall to provide an offset. If that were the case, and I'm using that as an example, it never impacted the base levy. And so Proposition 2.5, if you didn't take 2.5, You didn't get 2.5, and you fell short in the years. And there's a lot of pressure on at least the administration from both council, the school department, and the school committee to make up for a lot of lost ground over the years. That's hard to do in 1 year. It makes it almost impossible to do. And I don't think that's what they're asking us either, but we give, from the town side, a fair shot and a fair share of all the town resources, because there's a number of we have the entire town to think about as we go forward with this.